Well, good morning, and we're here for the start of day 9 of my anniversary trek across East Sussex. So I've done over 73 miles so far, so I think somehow by the time I get to the end and get to Eastbourne Seafront, I probably would have done over 100 miles. We'll wait and see, But today I'm starting back here at Bates Green Farm in Arlington, and I should be heading up towards Lower Dicker, Michelin Priory area, up towards Horsebridge, Hellingly, and then back down towards Hailsham where I'll finish. So it should be a really good, interesting journey this one. We've got plenty of rescues to mention as well. But before I crack on, just wanted to mention the Bates Green Gallop that takes place here every single year. Now for 3 years I've done this run. They're loops, 3.6 mile loops around through the woodland here and the fields, surrounding fields and the river. Lovely course, well worth taking part. And it's operated by We Run, They Run, I Run. And the next Bates Green Gallop is happening in September this year. So it's well worth looking it up on the website and taking part. And why don't you raise money for WRAS? Come here, do some loops here and raise some money for WRAS at the same time. So my footpath now takes me across a little tributary. Here we go, this little stream here. And this runs all the way up to Wick Street, just up behind me here. Now, it was in June 2016 that I actually had an accident there whilst on a fox rescue. The fox had actually gone underneath the bridge after being hit by a car. And I went down there with ladders. I had other rescuers en route as well. But I actually slipped on the footing there and actually injured my pelvis, my leg and my back. Luckily not too seriously in the end, but it was extremely painful and ended up with the fire service and the ambulance service out to rescue me. So I'm now at Upper Dicker, and I've just popped into the village stores here. But here in Upper Dicker we've had a few casualties to deal with. We had two-week-old hoglets, baby hedgehogs, come from here which needed rescuing, found out in someone's garden during the daytime, and they were too young to be out of a nest and away from mum on their own. We also had 2 song thrushes. Now we don't see song thrushes that often, but yeah, these are lovely birds, and I tell you, when they're in the orphan room they make a hell of a racket. This is the River Cuckmere. This is where it bypasses Michelin Priory, and in the trees behind me there is Michelin Priory itself. Lovely place, well worth a visit. And we've had numerous rescues here over the years, including a couple of bats. We've had bats in the big barn that have been grounded. We've had ducks, geese and swans to deal with. We had a swan which actually had lead poisoning, which isn't as common as it used to be these days. But and that one went up to the Swan Sanctuary and eventually made a full recovery. Well, I'm now on the busy A22 Hailsham bypass, and it was actually here that we had several phone calls when people started to report an emu or a rhea running along the road here, which we understand had escaped from one of the farms. But we've also had a reindeer running down here. So really strange things to get called about. So I'm just off Hempstead Lane heading north towards Horsebridge, and not far behind me is a place called Gournay Road, just the other side of Hempstead Lane, where we had a crow that had been shot. That was in April 2017, and that's just one of quite a few that we've had in this area of Hailsham which have been shot either with air rifles or with catapults. Anglesey Avenue is just here as well, and again another common place for us to get casualties. The pond in Farn Close has had a number of injured ducks over the years. Again, some have been injured by cats, foxes, but also by humans too. So I've come off the busy Horsebridge road and I've come down towards Horsebridge Mill, and I'll be cutting across the fields towards Hellingly now. But here in Horsebridge we've had a number of rescues. These have included a little young shrew that came on September 2016. We had a hedgehog, a little young hedgehog caught in netting. That was in November 2010. And we also had a Fox Road casualty from just up here in February 2021 as well. So again, quite a few rescues in this area, and it's a busy area for us. I'm now onto the Cuckoo Trail at Hellingly, the old Hellingly station behind me here. Lovely robin singing above. We've had several casualties from this area as well, as we have everywhere else. But notably, a lovely little nestling blackbird that came in April 2018. And we've also had some nestling house martins from this area. This one's from July 2022. In this hedgerow, right up the other side of the field here by the woods, we had a fallow buck that was attached to a barbed wire fence. It had baling twine entangled in its antlers, and that twine had become caught on the barbed wire fence. As a result, it was entangled and needed rescuing. Kathy, Chris and I were called in to deal with the rescue. It wasn't the easiest of rescues because we couldn't properly use the walk towards net because of all of the vegetation. But eventually we did manage to catch it, secure it and set it free and allow it to run off into the distance. So up the drive here is the old Hellingly Hospital, and a lot of the grounds has been turned into a parkland, and there's a pond and a woodland. But we're repeatedly getting calls here for ducks and geese which are being attacked. We had one in June 2015 which was entangled in fishing line that had been left on the site, but also we had a goose that had been stamped on in July 2021, and even only last year we had another duck that was attacked by a dog. So this section of the Cuckoo Trail, which is north of Hailsham, sort of coming out of Hailsham towards Horsebridge and Hellingly, has been a source of several casualties. We've had a couple of young badgers found not far from here. One was found in March 2018 and one in February 2024. We've also had some bats found and picked up by a dog as well. So this is the old Hawks Road railway bridge. It's now a little tunnel, and it's not far from here that in April 2022 we had some fox cubs that got trapped between a fence and a wall which needed rescuing. This is the London Road railway bridge in Hailsham, and just along to my right here is the old ambulance station. And in 2021 we had a rescue where a little roe deer had managed to get round the back of the ambulance station. But it's not unusual for these animals to come into residential areas, but this one repeatedly had been seen sort of day after day, and was stuck behind the ambulance station. So we had the job of catching it, relocating it, and we took it out to Abbotswood where we eventually released it. This is South Road in Hailsham, and it was in 2020 we had a mum and ducklings that decided to walk from the Burfield Park estate all the way down here wanting to get to the common pond. And we, unfortunately, it was just far too dangerous to allow them to walk of their own accord. So we had to catch them all, take them down to the pond where we released them. So this is the end of day 9. So I've come from Arlington up towards Horsebridge, Hellingly, and back down to Hailsham, and that's going to end for me today. So hopefully a couple of days time I'll start back here and head down towards Polegate and in towards Eastbourne, where I'll hopefully finish by the end of the week. Looking forward to that. My feet certainly need a rest. Please support me, please share and like. This raises much money for WRAS and for our local wildlife. Thank you.